Ooh, hello.
Art Attack is sponsored by Pridstick.
Spooky Art Attack. This is a Spooky Art Attack. This is my Spooky Art Attack special. Oh, hello there, and welcome to the Art Attack Spooky Special. Hope I didn't scare you too much, but I've just been searching around for some of the spooky art attacks that I've done. There's loads of stuff in here. Everything seems to be ghost crazy at the moment, doesn't it? So I thought I'd dig up some of my favourite ghostly art attacks to haunt you with. Remember this? Ugh. A horror hanger. Take a big cardboard box and cut off the two biggest sides. And onto one of the sides, draw a horror head. Now, you have to make it roughly the same size as your own head. But hopefully it won't look anything like your own head. In fact, you could copy your favourite comic strip character or horror character off the telly. But you have to make a nice big long neck that's almost the same size as the head. And then put in the rest of the horrible detail on your face, cut it out, and you'll have something that looks like that. Look at that. Ugly mug. Put that to one side, and then on the other sheet, draw around your fingers, like that. But don't spread your fingers too far apart, just enough to get the pen in between them. And go all the way down your arm, both sides like that, and join them up there like that. Do two of them, cut them out, and you'll have something that looks like that. Now the idea is to pop a hole through the end of both arms. Do this with a sharp pencil, be very careful, in through the cardboard and into a bit of sticky tack to protect the furniture. And then just place your cardboard hand down like that. Tear out some old magazine pictures, just pages from the old magazine, just twist them into a long thin twist like that, and just place them down onto your hand, along the finger, and then along the arm, like that. Do all 5 fingers in the same way, again, with old pieces of magazine, and you'll have something that looks like that, and it's a gnarled old hand. Then mix some PVA glue with some water, 2 parts glue, 1 part water, and yes, you've seen me do this before. Slop on the glue over your gnarled, twisted fingers, and then place the tissue paper or loo roll on the top, and just slop on another bit of PVA glue. And go over the whole of your hand, covering all the fingers, front and back, both hands, and when you've finished, leave it to dry, and you'll have something that looks like that. And look at this. The PVA glue and tissue paper have gone rock solid, and whatever you do, don't cover those 2 holes. Now, as for the face, what you need to do is build up these facial features into a sort of 3D relief. And the best way of doing this is just tear off clumps of tissue paper or loo roll, and with your fingers, can be a bit messy, but fun to do. Just dip it into your glue like that, shake off the excess, and just position it onto your cardboard and press it into shape. And as you're pressing it, the tissue paper sort of disintegrates into a pulp, and you can just get it into position. It doesn't matter if you go over your design, because the idea is to build up all these facial features with tissue paper, then cover the whole thing in 1 layer of tissue paper, front and back, and when you've finished, you'll have something that looks like that. And as you can see, I've built up all the facial features into a 3D relief, and I've even put a 3D bolt through his neck. And just bring the hands back in, like that, and now it's time to paint them. And you can do this with poster paint or acrylic paint. It's always the good fun bit, this, isn't it? Now make it as horrible as you possibly can, and you can see here I'm just slopping on some gruesome green. And you can take a bit of time doing it, just go over all the fingers, both hands, even do the fingernails. And do the same on your face, make your face as horrible as you possibly can. Put in all the detail, and when it's finished, your face will look something like that. Look at that. And I've done red lips there, I've even put the scar in. Ugh. I've got the eyes, and I've even put some silver pen on here for the bolts. As for the hands, well, I've put the fingernails in, and just through these holes here, I've attached 2 lengths of string. I've tied them to a coat hanger so that they dangle like that. Then, the difficult bit. Take a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or an old pullover, and the idea is to just thread your horror hands down the sleeves and pop them out the other end. And there's one of them, like that, a perfect fit. And then the other one down the other sleeve, like this. It can be a little tricky to do. It's a bit like getting dressed in the dark using someone else's hands. Horror hands at that. And out come the fingers. There they are. And again, another perfect fit. And then you have to attach your coat hanger into your shirt like that. Just hang it on like you normally would. And then just put your head inside and simply tape it into position. Now I'm just going to do it very quickly here to show you. You can take a little bit more time to do it. Do it carefully. Put a lot of tape on so that when you pick it up, there you have a horror hanger. And then you can hang it up in your wardrobe. This way, master. And if you tie a loop of string or wool to the bar in your wardrobe first, it just makes it easier to hang in. And there it is. Look at that. And there's loads of different designs you can do. You could do a skeleton design, or you can even do a werewolf design, complete with woolly fur. Try it yourself. A horror hanger, guaranteed to scare off unwanted intruders.
Hello, it's me, the head. Now, to make those horrible hangers, you just cut out your cardboard shapes, build up the features using magazines, cotton wool or paper, cover them with a layer of toilet roll and PVA mixed with water. When the bits are dry, paint them and then tie them onto a hanger and scare someone. Ooh. Ooh. in the least. Hey, do you want to see my garlic powder picture? Ah, no! Help! Oh, help!
Do you bury your head in the sofa cushions when spooky things appear on the telly? Nah, me neither. Most of the time, they're just really clever special effects. Boo! See what I mean? Actually, you know, there are some really good ghostly special effects that you can use to make your artwork look really spooky. Here's a good tip. Make it drip. Okay, let's start with some spooky lettering. Here's a letter I've drawn in pencil, and I'm just going to make it look spooky by making it go all drippy and droopy. Look at this. Ugh. Just dripping off those bottom edges around the bottom of the T, and again off this cross arm of the T, all dripping off like that. And there is a spooky T. All right, let's try it with another letter. Let's try it with this E. Again, the same thing. Make it go all droopy and floppy and start dripping off the bottom edge down there. Look at that, big chunks of it dripping down. And you're just looking for those bottom edges. There's another one. Just all dripping. And again, this next bottom edge. And then those other lines are just wobbly lines like that. And you could even do chunks of it dripping down there, and maybe chunks of it and dollops just sliming off the edge. Look at that. And if you want to make it look even more spooky, colour it in. Colour it in pimple yellow. That looks really horrible, doesn't it? Let's see. And pimple yellow and, let's see, I know, sour milk green. How's that? On there like this. And this mix of green and yellow makes it start to look like some sort of dripping gunge or ectoplasm gunk. There it is. And if you do a whole word in exactly the same style, it looks really effective. Look at that. Green looks horrible, but the red looks even worse. It looks like dripping blood. And spooky drips work with other things. What about this? Here's a man I've drawn. Now, I've just drawn it lightly in pencil to start with, because what I'm going to do is make him go all drippy. And his head's going to start dripping. Look at that. And then his arms are going to go all droopy and drippy. His fingers are dripping off. And just again, looking for the undersides of his arms. And again, under his feet and under his legs, and all just bits of gunk dripping off. He looks like a bit of a zombie, doesn't he? Very spooky. And again, the underside there, bits dripping off, drippy fingers, nice long drippy fingers. I'm going to draw chunks of him coming off, maybe a finger coming off like that, a couple of drips of gunk underneath. And I think I'll give him a really droopy face, just in there like that. Just make him look really spooky, and a droopy mouth. Look at that. Wouldn't like to meet him on a dark night. And here's a good way of doing a very simple drippy ghost. Just take a pencil to start with and do a very light circle like that, and then a stick body and stick arms. Now I'm just going to hang a dripping sheet over that frame, and again just dripping off the edge of the frame there, just all falling apart, all this gunk dripping and drooping. And there it goes over the top of the head. And just to finish it off, I think I'll do bits of gunk coming away from it like that. Just all gunge, big clumps. And finally, just this droopy face of the ghost. And when you've done it in ink like this with a felt tip pen, you can just rub out those pencil lines, and you're left with a drippy, droopy ghost. Try it yourself. Make your artwork spooky with spooky drips. Oh, you wouldn't believe the scraps of rubbish I've collected in here throughout the years. Look at this lot. Mind you, I do hate to throw anything out. You know me. You know what I always say. You can make art out of anything. Any old scraps. Ah! Oh, it's horrible. Ah, it's spooky. It's a scrap attack. Now you need a piece of scrap paper big enough to screw up into a ball in the palm of your hand. And I think black paper works best for this. And there it is, a fantastic scrap paper ball. Nah, I'm only kidding. Put that to one side. Then you need a piece of paper that's roughly 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. Doesn't have to be perfect though. Screw it up. Doesn't matter if it tears a bit. All adds to the effect. And there it is, or whatever you want to call it really. Put it to one side. Then you need some PVA glue. Now it's the squidgy bottle type of glue, the school glue, and you dip your whatever it's called into the glue. And you get the ball that you made, and you notice in the ball here are loads of cracks where you've screwed it together. Well, you just insert this, whatever you want to call it, into the ball, bend it down a little bit, and then take another one, dip that into the PVA glue. It has to be PVA glue, you'll see why in a minute. And put that into the crack. And you can do as many of these as you like, but I find 6 works best. And when you've done 6, put it to one side. It will look something like that. Now we need some white scrap paper. Screw it up into a very tight ball. And I've got another one there. And a piece of red will do nicely for what I want. I'm just going to cut it roughly into an oval shape. Again, it's not a perfect oval, but that'll do for what I want. Black felt tip pen, and just draw a dot on the edge there, and again another dot on that side. And then back to the good old PVA glue. I use this quite a lot, it's my favourite glue this. Gives a real good finish. Then you just stick that onto the top, the original piece, again in there, creating whatever you want to call it really. And again this, and just slap it in there, in one of the cracks, and there it is. And then the sloppy bit. It wouldn't be Art Attack without a sloppy bit, would it? Loads of PVA glue all over the back, go over it completely, cover all these side bits, down there, and even go over these bits that you've just done here. And let's face it, it looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but I promise, if you leave it to dry overnight, the next day, it will look something like this. Look at that. The PVA has gone hard, shiny, and rather shell-like. It could look like this, on the other hand, if you make some eyes, glitter around the side there, and some scrap paper teeth, or if you use greaseproof or tracing paper, it could look something like that. Again, I've made glitter eyes, and a little tongue there, just turn it round so you can see that. Long piece of paper, I've curled it round a pencil. And when you're at that stage, just get some cotton, covered in glue at the moment, it's sticking everywhere. Put some sellotape onto it, attach it to the back, and then hang it up in your bedroom, and give unwelcome visitors a terrifying scrap attack. Spooky, huh? I'll see you next time. If there is a next time. Ta-ra!
Watch out here on CITV, because just one of the brilliant shows that's coming up soon is The Big Bang, the show that will boggle your brains. It's huge, it's enormous. It's an even bigger bang than the one I made when I stuck a potato up my dad's car exhaust pipe. For Tim Curry, it didn't do any damage. The car was no banger anyway. Get it?